What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Blood on the Razor Wire TV, where we bring it to you real and we bring it to you raw. Today, we're talking to a brother that was at Big Sandy around the same time I was there, or at the same time. He ends up in a knife fight with MS-13. But you know what? You're going to be shocked at what happens. So, Ronnie, anyway, you tell the people who you are. Let's talk about you, how you ended up in federal prison, and we'll talk about that knife fight eventually.
Yes, sir. My name is Ronnie. I basically have been dealing with the federal system since 1990. I was 17 years old when I caught my case. Young, stupid, had no idea, what was reality. I was raised in a family who was in the life. For those of you in your audience that don't know what I mean by the life, drugs, guns, stolen cars. We had chop shops. This was my older family. I was a kid. I was just a kid tagging around, watching what they were doing.
I know who your cousins were. I don't know if you want to
Yes.
mention who they are or not, but
They're out there at home. It's Victor and Georgie Torres brothers. And, they were, other family in Puerto Rico that was also involved in a lot of stuff. And I just watched. To me, it was normal. It was normal because it wasn't to the line of disrespect. Like in Puerto Rico, when I'm 50, Chad, I'll be 51 in November. You beat up a woman in PR, you're done. The whole block's jumping you. We're jumping you, we're stabbing you, we're shooting you. Yeah, in Puerto Rico, my generation, we had a different standard. We walked differently. Even when we committed crime, it was a level of respect. Women weren't involved, children weren't involved. If you were found to violate these, you knew the penalty. Your audience doesn't, this 2023, you know how violating codes, specifically on the street, like in prison, you get dealt with.
not really like that anymore, right? Like people are
No,
victimizing people. I see stuff on social media. Some dude knocked out like an 80-year-old lady on a train station. Like, are you serious?
look at the in New York right now. These kids, this whole trap scene, get on a video and talk about your crime or someone else's crime and let everyone know about it, including the authorities. This is an entirely different mindset, and it's scary to see these kids going down this avenue. Oh, by the way, these kids I just mentioned all got locked up on a federal indictment. They're all in the feds right now. The whole Bronx drill scene is in the feds right now, like they did in Brooklyn.
The story on one of the kids.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm going to talk a little bit about you, Ronnie. You go to prison when you're 17. How much time were
Yes.
you sentenced to?
Originally, my first initial sentence was 60 months. Then I got a superseding indictment in 2007, got an additional 54 months. Then I turned around and committed more crimes. Didn't stop. Got an additional 15 years. Then I caught another case while locked up. Got an additional 5 years. It was a spiral of insanity that I wish no child or no young guy would have to go through, because the things I've seen in 1990, I've watched the guy get gutted over 3 balloons of heroin, and they literally tried to sew the guy back up after they cut his stomach open. Who does that? Where?
I don't know. You
This is
tell us. Where
Lewisburg.
was that at?
This is Lewisburg. Lewisburg in the 90s, people don't understand this. They watch these prison videos, this shit on YouTube, no offense. They don't understand. From 1990 to 95, 96, there were no cameras in the corridor. There were no cameras in the units. The red top, they called it that for a reason. And this is because the red top, the floor is red. It was because dudes were getting killed left and right in the corridor. You understand? If you talked, you got dealt with in the shoe. Guys think, oh, I could check in. Bro, we're going to catch you going to the rec cage. We're going to catch you going to medical. Guys are going to come up out those cuffs. For those of you that don't know, we could use a comb to pick the cuff from the center, pop it open, come up out of those. We got a knife keister, pull it right out your ass and start stabbing dude while he's handcuffed from behind. The staff member's going to jump back. And only thing he's going to tell you is stop stabbing them. Stop until you finally do or assistance arrive. And 9 times out of 10, Chad, they're going to stand there and be like, put it down. They're afraid you're going to stab them.
Know that you're Puerto Rican, but you're not.
Yes.
You weren't a Nieta. You were what?
No.
G-27, right?
Yes. 27, yes. And again, that was a decision again, before when I was on my way home, this is years down the story, almost 30 years down, I stepped down and I did it honorably through one of the heads. He gave me his blessing. It is something that has never been done. And I told him, if it cost me my life, so be it. At that point, I made a decision, was like, I came to prison, I was 17. I'm coming home, I'm 46. What else am I going to do with my life? Am I going to go there and cause more chaos and destruction? Am I going to lead more kids down a road that their families are going to suffer with their death, their incarceration, or just being a strung out child, son or daughter? Am I going to be the one responsible for these things? You understand? This is when I had to look in the mirror, Chad, and be like, who the are you? Who are you? You know what I mean? Are you a destroyer or a creator?
17. Say that again. I want people to hear that.
I was 17 when I robbed my first bank and I extorted my first person. I was 17.
Eventually I know you get your life together and we'll get into that in a minute, but what was some of the most dangerous prisons that you had ever been in?
Lewisburg, definitely very dangerous. I'm not going to lie to you. And it wasn't even a danger. I'm going to tell you the story that you probably heard, but it's hilarious because it is so true. Pulling up on the bus, it wasn't even the staff, what the inmates were saying, because I used to go up to Attica, Comstock, Clinton, down to Mora to go visit family when I was a little kid. So I was used to going to the penitentiary. You know what I mean? It's like I was never in it, but going to one was not something to put fear in me. What threw me and what actually shocked my mind was when I first pulled up to Lewisburg, you can feel the death. You can feel that a lot of people have died in this institution. I don't give a pardon my language, I'm sorry, who you are, how many bodies you got up under your belt, what your case is. Every single person on that bus that pulled up all the way, I would say before me, 70s, 60s, going all the way up to, I would say 2000, before they changed it to the SMU, to the Special Management Unit. You can feel when you see that tower with that 5-pointed inverted star. That's the first thing you see. You see the freestanding wall. What is it, 35, 40 feet freestanding wall. And then that huge clock tower, which I don't even know if it's a clock tower, with that symbol on the side. You know, the moment the bus crosses through there, there's only one or two ways for you to survive. Conform or become someone bitch or die. This is what it was back in 1990. People believed on blood, shit on my blood on my shank. That was real. Do not let these kids think this was not a fantasy. You didn't put work in. The moment you hit that compound and you were cute, you were young, you were somebody's bitch. Bottom line.
You went in there at 17. Good looking kid.
Yes, absolutely. Young, little as shit, 5'7", 142 pounds. Bodies came right up to me. Go ahead.
Puerto Rican dudes embrace you or no?
As soon as I came in, I want to see my work. Bottom line, paperwork. Ain't nobody talking to you other than one dude. You don't produce that work, they're not sending you up top. I'm telling you, it changed. It wasn't, no, yo, you got to go lieutenant's office. You got to go up top. Nah. You don't produce that paperwork in the time being that they tell you, they're going to show up 3-4 deep, and they're going to put that steel in you to the handle. You know what it is? Dudes ain't trying to rap. All that fantasy, they come in here, they courting you, not in the penitentiary. Definitely back then. They wanted certain dudes on the compound. If you did not conform, you got dealt with.
What were you thinking in your mind? You're
holy shit.
You're pulling up the Lewisburg, 17-year-old kid. I mean, this is it. Life is real right now, right?
Dude pulled up to me. I never forget it. Boy George was there. Him, Fat Manny, Vinny, all the co-defendants were there in Lewisburg when I first got there. Okay? George Rivera, Boy George. They pull up on me. Him, his co-defendants. Yo, what's up? What's your name? Blah, 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 blah. Kicked it for about 2.5 minutes. Yeah. You got your paperwork? It's in the mail. You got this much time. I'm not going to say this name of who said this because I'm not putting, you already know how we do. The individual let me know, you got this much time. That's it. We see you then. Only one dude stayed as the contact point. You know what that is, because everybody ain't with you till they know who you is, till they read that work. So that one person came to me every day, right after count, 4 o'clock count, mail call. You got that? If I didn't have that on that certain time, they were coming. And then I come in to talk no more.
I mean, so once you get your paperwork and everything, now dudes embrace you. I mean, are the New York dudes immediately like, yo, you're from New York, bro? You know, your paperwork's good. You're with us. You sit over here. How's that work back then in the 90s?
This is what shocked me. I got my bag. No, you kick. Bong. Bone crusher. I need this for. You might need this today. Excuse me? You're going to be in this car. You're going to put in work. Simple as that. Ain't nothing to talk about. It ain't a whole lot of, like I said, I listen and I watch these other prison videos and guys going to, bro, hey, dudes ain't doing all that talking, Chad. You good? You in the car? You gonna put in work if you gonna be in the car. Simple as that. We gonna put in work to protect you. If we gonna put in work to protect you, nigga, you gonna put in work to protect us. That's just how it works.
So I mean, you're a young kid. What car are you in at that age?
In the beginning, I didn't throw out my claim. I went with the largest car because we were the smallest. Yeah, on any given compound, 27s may not be more than 5 or 10 of us. They try to keep us apart because when it's too many, we're assholes. I hate to say it, but my brothers know. They're laughing on my ex-brothers. They know we're never going to be on a compound and be broke. You know that. The moment there's at least 10 of us, we're getting into heroin, cocaine, whatever it is, we're getting in the hustle. I didn't want to, when I got there, I was looking, weighing out. You feel me? And the homies were like, yo, you from the BX, my nigga. You might as well. We like 4 deep, 400 deep here. It's Lewisburg. It's East Coast. New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, tri-state car. We got this. You see it? But we got the Cali.
Right away, you're in the New York car, right away.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Off the rip. But that lasted till I got the Terror Hut. I got the Terror Hut. Told you I didn't last in Lewisburg long. I got there to the hospital unit. You know, the hospital unit used to be over the kitchen. As soon as I get in there, bang a dude out, they shit me. They sent me on a mission. I wasn't there. As soon as I got there, dude sent me on a mission, right? The car did. Bang dude out. That's what I had to do. And I was young. I didn't care. I took, fuck that. I take one for the team. Let's go. I'm 18, mind you, not 17. Remember, at 17.
Let me stop you for a minute because I want to ask you a question. You know, so many dudes volunteer, you know, especially a lot of young dudes like, yo, I'm here. I'm ready for the mission, bro. What is it in your mind? You know, what is it that you're thinking like when the homies approach you, the big homies, are you like, yeah, I want to do this? Show them that, man, I'm about that business, man. And
power.
Count on me.
Power. I planned on moving up the rank. I knew at that point, first of all, I was getting cased up one after the other. And at that time, from what I grew up around, because I'm trying to put myself in my mentality that I was as a kid. Because I was a kid, even though I was 17 years old, I was still a child. I was trying to emulate those who I thought I was, you know, I should have been, meaning my uncles, my other family that were really those people. You understand? So I was walking that path at 17, not realizing that what I was doing was destroying my entire life. I had no idea I was destroying my life. In my eyes, what I saw was the right thing to do. This is how I want to be. This, you know, of course I knew the difference between right and wrong. I know killing somebody isn't right. But is it wrong to kill somebody if they owe you $1,000 and they went in your house and took it? You see what I'm saying? Yes, it is still wrong, Chad. But
it is wrong, but
I justified it.
It is wrong, but sometimes, you know, many times people, you know, will kill you over $500, $1,000. Man, he disrespected me. And next thing you know, that, you know, these young cats are doing 25, 30 years. And like you mentioned earlier, you see it on social media all the time.
I thought it was the right thing to do back then. To me, or a mentor was everything. You're a rat, put a bullet in your face. Bottom line. You understand? Everything was absolute. Everything was painted. You understand? You commit a crime, go into jail. They tell you go on a mission, bust his ass, push that knife, go to the shoot, do my time. If I get transferred, so what? Remember, all the way up to 97, they weren't even charging dudes with stabbings. Look at the amount of cases you went through. You have researched, okay, with the Silverstein cases and all that. How many of them dudes? Look at the AB guy you interviewed the other day. How many stabbings you think they really prosecuted him on that he committed?
Not
Let's
many.
keep it
I mean,
real.
that's the thing that people don't understand. A lot of times, if you didn't die, then they never prosecute. You could just stab people freely. You had a license to stab people in federal prison.
Look at Boy George. This is not a secret. How many stabbings has Boy George has had a stabbing in every single penitentiary he's been in, at least one or two. He's
That's
only been charged with one stabbing ever.
well, that's why he didn't. Honestly, that's why he didn't get out on compassionate release. I don't know
Yes,
if
that
he
is true.
was his lawyer, and
Ice did though. Black Ice did, didn't he? His co-defendant Ice.
I know who Black Ice is. I'm not sure. I didn't look and see if he got out.
What about well, they weren't his code. I think they were by
Let's talk about
extension.
you. Let's talk about.
Okay, look at
Let's
I
talk
just
about
know so many people in the feds from those days.
say
And it's
this, though,
sad.
Ronnie, because while we're
Yeah.
talking, some people see this mark on your face, and they might want
Yes.
to know what the hell happened there.
Oh, that was one of 23 stab wounds and this happened years later. At that point, I was already running a TV. I had my own TV and B2. You know what I'm saying? And these cats came in the unit, and everybody was.
You said B2, but what?
This was in Beaumont. This was in excuse me, not Beaumont, Big Sandy, in Big Sandy. I told you I always get Beaumont and Big Sandy mixed up because they're built so similar. Both facilities. The only difference between Beaumont and Big Sandy, you got to go through the corridor for everything. Beaumont is an open compound, but everything is gated in sections. It's insane. It looks like you're walking through a huge dog kennel. I swear to God. Gates, every part of the yard is gated and isolated. Even the handball courts is isolated and gated. Everything. So that's why I said it reminded me. Every time I think about Beaumont, I think about Big Sandy. When I think about Big Sandy, I think about Beaumont. But in Big Sandy, what happened was me and another guy that I told you, we both worked in a computer lab, Anthony Askew. We had a TV. Well, he was in a black car in a Texas car. And at that point, this was right when I was, I'm still a 27 at the time. So instead of beefing with him, like they were trying to make a move on the TV on days that he wasn't there, but I was there. They were coming at me. They were trying to target me because I was Latino and he was black. Being that the Texas car had a nice holding, if you remember, they had a nice amount of guys. There was only like 3 or 4 27s on the compound. You already know what it is. I don't have to go in there. Oh, for your audiences, let me explain it. When people that are members of a larger car, if you remember, these MS-13 guys were from DC, though. Even though they ran MARA, they also ran with the DC car. They couldn't make a move with the DC guys knowing about it because I with the DC car hard. And in that point, at that time, New York and DC guys got with each other. So what they tried to do was Pino tried to make it seem like he used to live right next door to me, that I went and took a remote off his chair when I had 3 remotes of my own. I've always had the remotes for the TV. So when he made that accusation, I clipped him. Because just like calling me a rat, you're not going to call me a thief, and I'm not going to do nothing about it. You already know, Chad, this ain't no war story. You know. You could be the pussiest person in the world. If someone accuses you of even being a rat or a thief, and you don't take off on them, you just validated that. I had no choice. I had to take off on him. As soon as I took off on him, I start beating his ass. Pino comes behind me. Facts, I'm sorry. Pino's the one I was beating up. Facts coming from behind me and stabs the shit out of me. Literally, like to the hilt. That's the one that punctured my lung. Basically, I knew at that second, if I take my attention off of Pino, because he had a knife in his hand too. During the fight, he had already reached and pulled the knife. So I'm trying to keep him from stabbing me when he stabs me from behind. So my focus was not, I have to get him unconscious. So I keep banging him. Wow, you'll see. I'm going to show you towards the end of the interview, the holes in my back. They're huge. He hits me again. And finally, I'm able to hit Pino long enough to knock him out. By the time I turn around, I'm dizzy. I collapse to one knee.
Why don't you show us right now while we're there in the interview? So people can see what it looks like when you get stabbed numerous times.
Oh, sorry, I gotta take this off. Can you see it?
Yeah, I see. Yeah, in the top, in the middle. Yeah.
It was all over. First generation.
Put the Put your shirt on, bro. No, I'm just playing.
Gotcha.
Get your headphones on.
It was bad.
I mean, you can tell that you know the one in the middle of your back and the one in the top shoulder is um definitely deep puncture was
Yes.
right in your face. But I only seen a couple on your back. Is there a bunch of little ones too?
Yes. It's all over. Like my hands. You can see where it was all over my body. Because we're fighting. You've seen this for yourself. You know, when they just swinging wild. Ain't nobody doing no Jason Bourne precise. You know what I mean? They no ninjas. Dude is just swinging. So it's as I'm moving and I'm hitting him, it's hitting me in different angles all over the place because I'm moving as a. So once he's knocked out, when I turn around, there isn't no super story about this. The dude bolts and runs. Now I'm so tired and I'm gushing that I want to chase him. So I start chasing him. Funniest shit in the world. Boom, right in my face. That was it. That's the whole story. I wake up in the emergency room with a tube down my throat.
I mean, listen, so you try to run after him, but you can't. You just fall out. I'm sure.
As he's running, I go to grab, and like I said, there was, you know, once your body is, adrenaline was pushing me. I wasn't even thinking about the blood. But once your body loses a certain amount of blood, bro, I don't who you is. You're going down. You're going into unconsciousness. And that's basically what happened. Is I went to reach to grab him, to beat him, I dropped straight on my face and went to sleep.
Let me ask you this, you know, in the heat of the moment, you know, maybe you might not remember, but when you're getting stabbed in your mind, are you thinking, damn, I might die right here? Does that ever enter your mind?
Absolutely. The moment it happened. I knew the moment it happened. That's the reason why I figured there wasn't a lot for logical thought. Anybody tell you sit there, oh, I was thinking about all bullshit. Okay? You got 1 second to think what you're going to do to save your life. Outside of that, you're probably going to live or you die. My one thought was knock him out. I knew this dude was behind me once he stabbed me. But I knew that if I let him get up that's on the ground with a knife, I'm probably not going to get out of this cell.
Think about the MS-13 guys, dangerous dudes.
Yeah. Yeah. I've always known that about. That's the reason why I went in. That was the reason as soon as he made the threatening gesture, Pino, I went right into his mouth. I started hitting him immediately because I knew that if you let these guys, mind you, they both sleep right next door to me. If I go to bed, that door crack at 5 in the morning. For those of you who don't know, the door is normally open depending on where you at between 5 and 6 a.m. If you're still tucked in, if you're still in the bed asleep, there's a term we use. It's called tucking someone into sleep. And that's exactly what they're going to do. Basically, one guy's going to wrap a cord around your throat while the other one is stabbing the hell out you in the bed. That's called tucking you into sleep. And that was a very, very popular move to do in Lewisburg, Leavenworth, Terre Haute, in these older penitentiaries that wasn't charging people for murder. They'll come through for count and you're still in the bed. Why is he still in the bed?
You were stabbed in 2009, right after
yes.
the DC dude killed his celly, stabbed his celly in the head.
Yes. Bosco. That was this is Bosco or Roscoe. I always get his name mixed up.
I think his name was Roscoe, but he was
Roscoe.
I mean, the kid that died was really pretty nice dude, right?
Yeah. What happened was, okay, I'm gonna tell you the whole story. Line Weaver, his homies, all the homies were like, yo, don't sell up with this dude. This dude already stabbed a homie in Lee County. He just stabbed up a homie in Lee County. Don't sell up with this dude. At the time, yo, dude was a good dude, man. And he was really trying to help guys come home. He was trying to help guys really rehabilitate. He was really trying to help guys get their lives together. Not on some, I came to jail, start, thumping the Bible. And then it's, 6 months before my release, I'm, doing, what is that shit? The synthetic heroin and
K2 stuff that they were doing.
Yeah, the K2 and all that. I used to hate watching dudes doing that. I swear to God. Because it's like, you guys are already effed up. Why are you getting more? You using chemicals that ain't even real. At least if you're going to smoke some weed, smoke weed. Not this stuff that's making you run out of unit ass naked with a towel wrapped around your neck. I've seen that a dozen times. I've seen a guy jump off the top T on K2, right on top of his head and die.
We're going to go back to this MS-13 thing in Roscoe, right?
Yes.
Roscoe gets killed by his celly.
Oh, yeah. He
really
gets
nice
his line weaver. Miss Lineweaver asked him, nobody wants to deal with this guy, but I have to accept them in the program because this is a program for lifers, remember? So she's like, I need you to deal with him, please. Bosco goes against his better judgment and goes in a cell with this guy to help this guy. In the middle of the night, that's when it happened. The guy butchers Bosco while he's asleep. That's all that happened.
I want people to know that this dude stabbed him right through the head with a piece of steel.
Yeah, yeah. There was blood everywhere. I remember when they took him because I'm in B2. You know, you can't see shit out the units because of the way the units is. You know, you got to go in the unit and then you go in the cut and the doors are like that when you go up the stairs. So you can't really like look out and then look into the hallway. Anybody tell you, I looked out the housing unit door and Big Sandy and looked out into the hallway, you freestyling, homie, you capping. You wasn't that Big Sandy. I'm saying, because you can't look out, you know what I mean? You can't. It's just like a guy saying, I talked to a guy on Seaside and we were on the same side. You wasn't in Big Sandy because you would have to go in a goddamn half semicircle. You see what I'm saying? That's how I used to catch dudes in prison all the time lying about Lewisburg. They were in Lewisburg. You were in Lewisburg? Where did you go get a haircut? Oh, no. Tell me where the barbershop was located. If you don't know that the barbershop is located in the basement of the prison and the laundry, you've never been to Lewisburg. You're lying. And I used to catch guys all the time freestyling. So that's basically what happened with Bosco's situation. And it was sad because he really tried to help this guy. And what made it even sadder, and it made me upset, really upset, this kid suffered from severe mental illness. They know this. Lineweaver, the associate warden, knew that this guy had severe mental disorder, that he tried to kill his previous, cellie, his homie in these, at Lee County. Why would you talk this man who's trying to get his life together to go into a cell with someone that dangerous?
I want people to know that the administration, because I just did an interview with someone and we talked about stuff like that where nobody cares. They'll put anybody in with anyone. That's how, Whitey Bulger ends up getting killed. They didn't say, oh, James Bulger. They just don't even look. They don't even care. This is where you're going. That's it.
They did it to Beanie. Listen, I was going to court. I was in Farrington's compound when they brought Beanie through. Beanie Siegel. Beanie, what I respect about Beanie is a straight gangster. Ain't that say anything elsewise, pardon your channel, you. Because I was on the compound with that dude. And they tried to PC him up at first, right? So when he gets there, no, I'm sorry, that's incorrect. When he got there, they were getting ready to put him on the compound. So a case manager comes in and sees him, and he's like, "Yeah, who are you?" He grabs the jacket, the folder. When you come off the joint that's red, that's all your paper. He grabs the central file. That's what it's called. He grabs the central file, and he's like, "Oh no, you can't go on this compound." That's how Beanie ended up in the hole. 2 days later, Beanie's on the compound because Beanie told him straight up, "You're not checking me in. I got to run around with people now talking about I'm gonna check in. Let me sign that waiver." Remember, back then you could sign a waiver that would absolve BOP responsibility. So he came out of the compound, but they originally tried to put him in the hole just based on his celebrity status. But they didn't do the same thing with Preem, though. They put Preem straight out on the compound. Kevin McGriff. When he went to Big Sandy, he went straight on the compound.
A lot of times they do what they want to do when they want to. But let me, I want to talk a little bit more about you getting stabbed and
yes,
you're in the hospital. What's going through your mind, man, young man?
What am I doing here? What am I doing here? Why am I doing this? What is wrong with me? That's what was going through my mind at the time. Because
any moments of loneliness, depression, like damn.
Absolutely, all of the above. The moment. It was crazy because as you just finished saying, the BOP don't give a shit. I was in the hospital for about 3.5 days. As soon as they were like, we don't have to clean his wounds no more, sent me right back to the pen. Non-stop, straight into the hole. So I'm sitting there like, okay, I'm thinking they're not going to make a big deal of this. Bro, do you know they charged me? Listen, you can pull it up. You know how to do the FOIA shit. Use my name. Pull up the SIS report. It's going to blow your mind. I was charged as the main aggressor in the incident because I took off on them. Their stabbings got dropped down to I got 101A. I got charged with 101A, but I didn't stab anybody. They got charged with 101s, but not 101As. So I'm talking to my celly, and my celly is behind you. He think he funny as shit because he laughed. He's reading my shot, and I'm going, how the fuck do you get charged with a 101A in a weapon? Please explain that to me.
I mean, like I said, they do what they want to do. But let me ask you this, right? So people know how this thing works. I mean,
Yeah.
you're over there. This happens around the time when Bobby's got the yard for the Mexican Mafia, right?
Yes. Yes.
MS-13 runs with the Serenos at the time.
And this is the thing. The Mexicans that were in the unit with me, they were getting ready to roll on them when it was going on. Because they know me and they knew I was a fair dude. They never sanctioned that. Mind you, I told you they were running with DC even though they was MS-13. So they was like, we didn't sanction that shit. We never even knew that this was going to happen.
That big sweep up with the MS-13s in DC. So, they weren't running under Bobby when you were there?
No, not at all. They were claiming when they got in the shoe, this is what happened. I talked to Big Mo, okay, at the time. I forgot who had the keys for DC at the time. I know Money was in my unit, but Money wasn't, he didn't have the keys. It was someone else who was running the DC car. They sent word into the shoe what happened because they found out from other DC dudes that supposedly these cats run with DC. So when they found out it was me, they wanted to know what had happened because remember, Preso and other my brothers are still there. There's only a handful of them, but they know all they do is push. These dudes don't fight. That's how we are from PR. We just push that knife. So I sent word out like, nah, this got nothing to do with DC. And I sent word to my peoples, this got nothing to do with DC. This is me and two niggas. That's it. It's us. You feel me? And that's all it's going to be. So dude respected that. He was like, he sent word back. Other DC dudes, they're not just going to go by my word. They investigated. They found out that Fats and Pino moved without anyone else from DC knowing about it. Basically, it was a spur of the moment. It happened right then and there. We had words. He said what he said. I took off. Fats being he from DC and it's his homie and his celly followed up by trying to back him up by moving on me. It was basically Convict 101.
And how many times did you get stabbed? 23 times?
23 times in total.
What did they tell you at the hospital? They tell you were lucky you were still alive?
Absolutely. Actually, a few people told me I shouldn't have even been alive, particularly the back one, because the back went in this much of the blade. To give you a description about the blade was about 6 inches long and about 5.5 inches of it went through my body.
Tell people everywhere you got hit. You got hit in the face, hit in the back.
Face, back, arms, think buttocks, leg.
Buddy, we're good on that.
Hit everywhere. It was just like, but you know what? The craziest thing about it is anything can happen at any moment because I went for years. People love me. You know what I mean? I talk to dudes. I'm the kind of like to walk the track and settle shit out. I don't like my peoples getting into anything. I don't like if I know you and I knew you, and even if I knew it was something going on in your car and I knew people in your car, I would pull them up on the side like, yo, it's a good dude. I don't gotta go like that. Is there something else that, what I mean? If I with you, I get a nigga books if that's what you owe. You feel me? To try to avoid them rolling on you and causing a bigger incident. That was another thing. I had mad hustles going on in the library. The time when
we're going to talk about that in 1 second. Let me ask you this, though. I want the people to know what happens after you get stabbed. Pretty much, you're the victim, right?
Stabbed. Absolutely.
You go to the hole. MS-13 dudes are in the hole. What happens after that? Do you get transferred? Do they get transferred? Do they go back to the compound? What happens?
Here's the insanity. They're getting ready to let me out. They let them out because they tell them they're going to transfer me since it's 2 of them and 1 of me. You know how that policy works, okay? They tell on them on the compound. So SIS relocks them up, puts them back on investigation. Mind you, I got shipped already. They write me. So I write back. and I send them an affidavit. And I told them, anytime anybody asks you about this incident, show them the affidavit. I sent them an affidavit letting them know I don't know who I was fighting, who stabbed me. All I know is I was fighting guys. I was drunk. I was in a daze, which I was, and I so this is the affidavit. They brought that to SIS. They dropped their, mind you, this is what happened. They were supposed to charge them with 100. They charged them with 100 and not charging them with 101A for the stabbing. So they ended up locking them back up and charging them with 101A. They don't get no shoot time, but they get transferred to the SMU.
SMU. Where do you end up going?
Gang, I end up going to Gilmer. From Gilmer, they end up shooting me to Beaumont.
You're at Beaumont. How serious is Beaumont when you get there in 2009?
You want me to be perfectly honest with you? My journey through Gilmer was worse. They put you in a hole. The whole time. I was there for 6 months waiting. You know, you have to get redesignated. Grand Prairie takes your stuff, ball it up, throws it in the trash, drinks their coffee, eats a donut, goes back in the trash, grabs your designation stuff, and then finally starts to do your designation computation. You know how that works. So I'm sitting in Gilmore.
Because I want people to know you're sitting in the hole until you can get to a real prison for 6 months, sometimes a year.
And absolute. There are guys that have been there 2 years. It depends. What got me there fast, which was 6 months, I had no separations other than that dude. Remember, they put the separation when the incident happened. So I had no sex because I have no co-defendants. So I didn't have to worry about sex. You understand?
Separation on your SIM file.
Yes, exactly. A separation, for your audience that don't know, if you're a rat or you're a chomo or you've committed some kind of act where a lot of people just want to kill you, you're going to get a sep, or you have a fist fight, normally between you or the stabbing or the fist fight, they separate you guys.